Hello, friends and fellow filmmakers. This is Jason Charnick, your host of Head Above Water, a new podcast focused not just on filmmaking, but on the mental and spiritual challenges we go through on a daily basis in the course of bringing our projects to life. We'll be having in-depth and brutally honest conversations with filmmakers, actors, and creatives of all types. So whether you're in the entertainment industry or not, I hope you find these conversations enlightening and entertaining. Our first guests are Elena Weinberg and Duncan Coe, co-directors of A Room Full of Nothing, a micro-budget independent feature on the film festival circuit right now, and will be premiering on a screen near you sometime early next year. Elena and Duncan just moved out to Los Angeles 4 months ago from Austin, Texas, and were kind enough to invite me into their home to talk about their move, their movie, what keeps them up at night, and the challenges that lie ahead. Hope you enjoyed this first episode of Head Above Water, and be sure to subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms to hear more episodes coming at you soon. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy Elena Weinberg and Duncan Coe. I'm glad to have you guys here. Really am glad to meet you guys for the first time and talk with you guys and hear a little bit about your experiences in Los Angeles for the
brief
your
period
brief
of time
stay
here
in Los Angeles. Let me ask you this then. So you guys just moved out here from Austin, Texas?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was born in Austin.
Okay.
1986, lived there my entire life until 4 months ago.
Okay.
More or less. My parents divorced when I was 3, and my mom lived in Austin proper. My dad moved to a place called Weberville, which is East Austin, and then up to Round Rock, which is basically Austin. And then I lived in a little town called Dripping Springs, ended up in Wimberley for high school, and then back in Austin for college.
There's a minor league team are you a baseball fan? There's a minor league team in Round Rock.
In Round Rock, yeah.
Right?
The
Like
Round Rock
I
Express.
hear small town names, I'm like,
Oh, I know. I think, are they the Rangers?
geez, I think so.
Maybe.
They're that
I'm
close.
not sure. We both worked on Fear the Walking Dead. It's the only TV show, or it was the only TV show in Austin at the time.
I thought they shot in Georgia.
Nope.
The Mothership does.
Oh, okay.
Walking Dead,
Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we worked on Fear, and season 4 mostly took place at the Round Rock
Okay.
baseball field, and they
That's awesome.
totally destroyed it. Like,
Well, not destroyed it. They turned it into a post-apocalyptic wasteland inside the stadium.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And they put it back. Are they still
Yeah,
shooting there?
yeah.
No.
That was just that one season.
Like, it's good, just good set etiquette.
They put
Leave
it-
everything the way it was when
Yeah.
you first found it.
one of the girls on our team went to a game like when that next season started, and like tweeted a picture and was like, "Oh, look, it's all back to normal."
That's cool.
Yeah, I used to go to a couple games there.
Yeah, the Round Rock Express.
Round Rock Express.
They're called the Express, right?
Yeah, because it's right next to a train track.
That's great. So welcome to our sports podcast.
Yeah.
We're talking about minor league baseball
And
and Fear the Walking Dead. So you grew up lifetime in Austin. Have you been to LA before?
my brother lived in Pasadena
Okay.
for several years. And so I came out to visit him when he was doing that.
All right. So it wasn't totally foreign.
Yeah, no. And then we visited ourselves together a couple times before this too.
Yeah,
great.
and a couple summers ago, actually, when Duncan was writing our feature that we are premiering at Austin Film Fest next month, or next week, or whenever
Next
you hear
week.
this, or maybe we already did it. Next
It
month.
depends
It's
on-
like literally next week.
It
Oh my
depends
God.
on how fast I can
Yeah.
get off my ass to finish this thing up.
When he was writing it, I was out here for the summer helping a friend produce a play. And that was the first time that, like, in the couple of weeks I was here helping them get that play up off the ground, I was not realizing that I wasn't using my GPS to get places and was like, oh, I guess I feel comfortable here. Like, at some point this is going to be home.
Outstanding. And when did you guys move out here?
In July. So
Yeah.
July 2019, for however long ago that was, when whoever is listening to this is listening
All
to
right.
it.
Yeah.
All right. And we are in Koreatown right now, just
Yes.
for specifically Koreatown in Los Angeles. What made you guys choose Koreatown? It was just
we didn't
it's
want to
centrally
live.
located for sure.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
want to. My office is down by LAX, and we didn't want to live down by LAX.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't want to live in the valley either, and Hollywood was too expensive. So
Hollywood is
this was like the next cheapest thing
That was
that
still
we could
central
get.
and
Sure.
yeah.
And I had, when I came out for my interview, they offered me the job that day for starting 3 weeks later.
In the room, they offered you the job in the room?
An hour later, they called me and offered me the job.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
That does not happen every day.
No, it does not.
You must be an impressive human being, sir.
I guess
Right?
so.
I'm impressed.
Or I'm really good at bullshitting during interviews.
You have to be, I guess. Yeah.
So we had 3 weeks to get out here, basically. We were looking for work out here permanently.
Mm-hmm.
And I had landed this phone interview. They asked me out for an in-person interview, offered me the job that day. 3 weeks to get our shit together in Texas and get out here. So
Outstanding.
So yeah, Duncan flew back to Austin. And then the next day we flew back out here together. Spent 2 days looking at like 12 apartments.
Sure.
We put down applications on like 4 in kind of different areas. There was this one. There was one on like La Cienega and just north of 10. Kind of, that was like the best location because it was closer to his office, but not like south of 10.
Wait, when you say 10, you mean the freeway?
Yes.
So you guys are not from California?
No,
we don't
no.
say
The
that.
10.
Yes, I need to start saying the.
It's funny too, because when I'm from New York City. They don't have freeways in New York City.
Yeah, at
they all
all.
have names. I mean, there are
Yeah.
interstates that have numbers.
we don't have
Yeah.
freeways in Texas either. We've got highways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's, highways and byways.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it just came naturally to me to call it the 10.
Uh-huh.
So like, it's the Californians, the 10 to the 405, and I think also I don't know if you guys ever watched 30 Rock, like
Yes.
Liz Lemon had a
Totally.
whole bit
Mhm.
about like all the freeways that
Yeah.
she had to take. And like, it just came naturally to me to call it the 10. So like, as I'm listening to you and I heard you say 10, I'm like, 10? Oh, she means the 10.
So like what's funny is like famous highways, I guess to me it's like really easy to say like, oh yeah, the 405 because
Right.
like I grew up hearing the 405.
Right.
But like we also have the 10 in Texas.
Yeah, it's the
It's
same.
it's
But we-
I-10.
yeah,
Yeah, it's the
yeah,
same one.
but we say I like interstate, so it's like
Right.
I-35.
Same
I-10.
thing, but it's the
I-10.
I-95.
Yeah. So
the
like
I-95 corridor on the East Coast.
so my like compromise is saying just 10.
So we'll just have. So now we know
Yeah.
what you're talking
I
about.
got
students.
corrected very early on.
Yes. So we looked at that place that was kind of more west. We put an application on this one, and then we put an application on another one that I can't even remember now. Oh, there was like another one kind of in Koreatown-ish that was like really cute but wanted a huge deposit. So
Sure.
we basically were
Sometimes
like,
they require 2 months deposit. It's
I
like,
know.
where do we get
Yeah,
money from?
this place was relatively easy to get into because we could apply online and submit our deposits online and all that
Yeah.
shit because we were going to be in Texas packing our house up basically.
yeah.
I mean, it's
so-
enough to worry about that you're
Yeah.
packing your whole life up.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing you need is to like worry about that when you get
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we
You know,
ended up
you need the apartment in place.
we ended up leaving Austin on a Wednesday or Thursday.
I don't
Oh,
remember.
left Austin on a Thursday, got here on a Saturday, unpacked Saturday, had Sunday to sort of like be in our apartment, and then I was at work on Monday.
Great. Wow. And you guys
Yeah.
drove.
We drove a truck out with the car on the back and one
Wow.
of our 3 cats in the cab.
Living the dream
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
When I moved out here in 1999 now,
Mhm.
this is 2019, so I've been out here for 20 years. I was supposed to move out here on October 1st, 1999, got cold feet,
Mhm.
ended up staying in New York for another 9 days. I don't remember, like I was supposed to move out of my apartment. It was a co-op, so like I kind of owned it, but was selling it because I couldn't keep it if I wasn't living there. And I don't know, I just had some time left to kill before I moved. And I was like, I'm too scared to go. Like I didn't know anybody. I honestly,
Yeah.
like I had taken, so I had taken an NYU program for like the School of Continuing Education. So like it wasn't like the Tisch School of Film that like Oliver Stone and Martin Scorsese
Mhm.
went to,
Right.
and all of that. But I had
And Kerry Fukunaga, who didn't finish.
did he go there too?
Yes.
I mean, the list of,
Yeah.
it's like USC with like George Lucas. And
Right,
Spielberg.
right.
The list goes on
I
forever.
think he like they tried to give him like an honorary degree or something though, because he never finished. And he was like, no,
No, I
I
left.
I didn't
quit
finish.
school on purpose.
I didn't,
Like,
yeah, why are you going to give it to me
Yeah.
now? Like, thank you for recognizing me after the fact.
yeah.
But I had, when I was in New York, so I took this and I had a psych degree. Like I never went to school for film.
Mhm.
I had never really thought that filmmaking could be a career. You know, like I would go to the movies as a kid and the movie screen is up there and it's like a huge disconnect. And it's not like my parents, no, I really am taking it back in the day, but it's not like my mom didn't encourage my creativity, but I just didn't grow up in an environment where that was the thing.
Right.
Like you watch like the Goldbergs or something like that. And it's like, you know, he had a camera from like age 8 and always wanted to make movies.
Yeah.
And I look back now at like different points in my life and realize like it was always that thing, but I never really grew up in the environment that like that would be a consideration. Like I was supposed to be a lawyer from like age 8. Like I had my first LSAT book when I was 12 because I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. And my father was a light, you know, if anyone's ever seen my picture, Getting Over, check it out online. My father was in the criminal justice system my entire childhood. So I always thought I would go into law and, you know, jump ahead a few years. So after I graduated from college with a psych degree of all things, I had taken a program at the School of Continuing Education at NYU. I took a summer course at Boston University where I went to school, and it was just about the film industry. Like it was literally, it was a summer course.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like 3 or 4 days a week. It was like maybe 5 days a week. It was like 4 or 5 days a week with like summer courses. You got to get the whole semester in. So like, it was like a 4-hour a day class. And it was just about like, my homework was to read Variety. We had a textbook where it was like the history of film and all that, and the history of like the film industry and the studio system and all that. My first class, the professor goes, I don't want you guys to think this is just going to be a cakewalk and it's movies and it's going to be fun. Just so you know, the average on the first test that I give you guys is 65. So if you don't do well on the test, don't worry about it. I was like, what the hell I'm getting myself into, but let's see what happens.
do it. Yeah.
Took the first test, and like the test was like, you know, like questions about like the history of the film industry and like Thomas Ince and the studio system and Louis B. Mayer and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also like, what was this week's Cume? What was this week's, you know, #1 movie, and how many theaters did it play in? What's the average per screen? And, you know, just like that kind of business stuff. And that I really reacted to that and really connected with that. And I took the first test and I got 100.
Nice.
Perfect 100. I was like, and he gave me the test back and I was like, wow. Okay.
Well, maybe this is where I'm supposed to be.
Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. And I went back home and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I think I want to maybe make movies, you know, and I took a cinema studies course after that. And afterwards I had applied to go to the BU School of Film, which is a pretty renowned school in and of itself. And plenty of actors certainly have gone there. Jason Alexander went to the, you know, College of Fine Arts for acting and stuff like that. Dan Fogler was actually someone I met later on, but we were in school together at the same time.
Interesting.
So I had applied to the BU School of Film and didn't get in, and found out they only accept like 16 students a year. And I had spoken like, and
wow,
my professor,
I was really shooting for the stars there.
yeah, and my professor at the time, who gave me the 100 on that first test, wrote me a letter of recommendation for all these other film schools. I didn't get in. And I was like, what? He's like, well, you're just starting.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, okay, like this is my first setback, I suppose. But what do I really want to do this? Was the next question I asked myself. And I was like, I do. And so, you know, and I wasn't going to get into Tisch or anything like that. And I realized like, I've never made a movie. I don't really know what I want to do, you know, but I need to like start somewhere. So I took the School of Continuing Education course, learned how to edit on a flatbed moviola. We shot on like 16 millimeter, you know, Bolexes and, you know, all that fun stuff from back in the day. That I wonder if I could still use that equipment because I haven't seen them in years, or like in a museum somewhere. But I had met a couple of guys that were in NYU school in Tisch, and got in through with one of them, who's actually his name is Peter Sullivan. He actually directs Netflix movies now, and he's going great. And we've worked together for years, and he's got a wonderful career out here, and I love him dearly. And worked on his thesis film, and met a couple of other people and worked on their thesis films. And then it came time to get jobs. And nobody, this is one of the first challenges that I, you know, wanted to talk to people about is how do you get jobs in the film industry making movies if you've never, it's the chicken and the egg. Like how do you break in if you don't have any credits and if you don't have, you know, all of that. So my friend Peter had moved out here. He was working for, I think, Copelson Entertainment at the time. I don't even know if they still exist anymore. Arnold Copelson, I think, produced The Fugitive and some other big pictures. Gotcha. And he was working for them. And then he eventually got a job at a Paramount subsidiary, a small production company with Paramount called Wilshire Court Productions. And he was working there in development. And I came out to visit him in the summer of '99 did the same thing you guys did, except there was no internet in 1999. But I came out here and just got a hotel, stayed with him. I don't think I stayed with him, but I had a little hotel room, rented a car, drove around town looking for apartments, and ended up finding a place in Hollywood. And totally, like, other than Peter, I didn't know anyone out here. And I didn't have a job. And I had actually interviewed for an internship at a small editing house in Santa Monica called Montana Edit on Montana Avenue. That's not there anymore. And they hired me to be an intern, and I wanted to get into post. I wanted to be an editor. So I found this place by myself and just kind of drove around like you guys did, and just said, it's happening. It's happening. Yeah. And that's the first, introduction I had to the angst of being in the film business. You have to, I couldn't find work in New York. I wanted to stay in New York, like my heart belongs in New York. It's where I'm from. But I had never, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know the hell I was doing. Yeah. But you need a place to live. And so I found a place. And like I said, I got cold feet. And 9 days later, I said, no, I'm doing it. This is absolutely happening. I absolutely have to do it. And I had the internship in place, and I moved out here. And, I had told myself, it's so funny because I tell people the story a lot still. And I was like, it's America. They have McDonald's. They'll take my money. Yeah. Like right. How they speak English. It's not going to be that hard. Los Angeles is a different beast. It's 3,000 miles away from New York. It's totally different. And like 1,500, 2,000 miles away from Austin, Texas. Yeah. It's a totally different. 1,800 miles. 1,800 miles. Right?
I know. I've made that drive twice.
Yeah. And you made that trip. So you guys get it. Like, to come out here, it's chasing the dream. Yeah. But it's still extremely scary and frustrating to jump into the unknown. Yeah. I mean, when we came out to look at apartments, we just had like a little, I don't know, like La Quinta or hotel room or something like that near the airport. It was the first thing that was cheap, whatever. And I remember like looking at maybe 5 apartments one day, and none of them being anything close to what we wanted. We were mainly concerned about having like adequate space for our cats. And just like sitting on the bed in our hotel room and just bursting into tears and being like, wow, I don't know if we can do this. Like, I don't know if I have a great thing going on. And like you, kind of like you, Duncan was looking for work for about a year. He quit working when we were finishing our movie because he edited it. And so he did that's how we saved money, is he edited it pro bono himself, sure. But yeah. He also didn't have a job while he was doing it. And when he started looking for work again, it took him, he was applying in both Austin and Los Angeles for literally any job that was even remotely he was qualified for. Right. Nobody would hire him in Austin. Then he ended up getting hired here.
Yeah, I was getting more phone interviews for jobs in Los Angeles where I didn't live than I was in Austin, where I lived my entire life.
Interesting.
And so, but I was doing great in Austin. I was working regularly on a network TV show or cable TV show. It is a network, not the network. Down. What a step down. Come on. I have to remind myself that those are different things. Right. Now that I'm in a place where people care about semantics right. like that. Yeah. I'm working every day as crew on a show. I'm producing micro-budget shorts for friends. I was working a lot, and I had built a lot of connections and was feeling like things were going great for me, and I could stay there, or I did want to move. Like, it has been a goal for a while to move here because I just felt like I needed to at some point, having been born in Austin and lived there my whole life. But I was sitting in that hotel room and I just started crying. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go look at apartments tomorrow. Wow. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And Duncan was like, did I make a mistake applying for jobs out here? Like, do you not want to come? And I was like, no, like, intellectually I do want to come, but like, I don't know what else to do right now except like have an anxiety attack in the bathtub. Right. So I'm going to just go take a bath in this and weird,
just not think about it for a few minutes. Yeah. Let's just not, let's lower the stakes. Let's not, listen, moving out of the town you've been in for your entire life, it's a huge move, and moving, the fear creeps in.
Yeah. Moving from Austin was interesting too, because we've seen it. I mean, I was born there in 86. Linklater made Slacker in 89 and was released in 91 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very much what Austin was for the first 15 years of my life.
Sure.
And then in 2008, it survived the recession a lot better than Houston and Dallas and San Antonio and El Paso and the rest of Texas.
Okay.
So Austin became a haven for people, especially people from California. A lot of techies moved out there.
Right. Yeah. No,
dropping money into the city. And so what was a town of 400,000 people in 1994, today is 2 million people.
Wow.
That kind of growth is
You
unprecedented.
can't sustain that kind of growth.
The fastest growing city in North America is Vancouver. Outside of Vancouver, it's Austin.
Austin, Texas.
And Vancouver, it's because of Chinese bankers. And Austin, it's because it was a cool fucking place to be, you know? Can I say the F word? Do we care about censorship? Okay, we'll see what happens.
I mean,
It's
you're
a cool
making this,
city.
so you can make it however you want.
There's a
Mad at
reason.
you if you don't curse.
There you go.
There's a reason that, like, you know, people like Matthew McConaughey and Robert Rodriguez came out of that town, and Richard Linklater, because it was a cool place, man.
Yeah.
But you get jaded by it, living there for 30 years. And it was time for us to when we made the movie, we knew we were going to make it there and finish it there.
It was written for Austin.
It was written for Austin. It was very much an
When
Austin
did you guys
vibe.
shoot?
January and February of 2018.
Yeah.
Were the plans in the works to move out here already, and you were there just to finish the movie, or you hadn't decided to move out here yet?
Kind of. We had started talking about, like, he wrote the movie while I was here helping with that play
In 2017.
in 2017. And so I came back and was like, dude, I think we should move to LA at some point. I really liked being there.
So that's when you made the decision.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, like,
which is crazy, because then I was the one that was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Right. Well, like I say, it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to, like, you know, so my question that popped into my mind as you were saying is, like, why did you feel like you had to move to Los Angeles? Was your business finished in Austin? Did you outgrow Austin? Was New York even a consideration? Like, because I think a lot of people get it into their head, like, compared to New York, but, like, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. Like, like some people feel the need, like, I won't be successful in the creative arts, in the entertainment world, if I'm not doing it in Los Angeles. And when I see Austin be such a, you know, burgeoning place for creative energy and activity, I almost think, I said, well, why would you even want to move out to Los Angeles at that point?
Well, I mean, for me at that point, it was that moment when I was driving around without my GPS on, realizing that I knew my way around this town, and, like,
I can do this.
It didn't matter if we were in Austin or here.
And it just felt good. And honestly, like, from the outside, and especially from an indie perspective, Austin is a really great place to be as a creative, but it is also a place where nobody works for money. Like, there's one TV show, like, real TV show. There's maybe one or two features a year, but the government sucks so much that they cut all the tax incentives. So the only work to do there is, like, community theater and free projects for your friends. So you can't even, like, develop as a filmmaker there.
Okay. It's just not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So coming here and just, like, maybe people are jaded by this, and I'm not yet, because I've been here for like 4 months. But
I'll jade you. I'll jade you with stories all day long.
But the fact that, like, when I drive anywhere in this town and all of the advertisements are for movies and TV shows is, I don't know if I'll ever get tired of that, because that's my thing. Like, I don't want to see billboards about the lawyer that, you know, the cool lawyer with the dreads, and, you know, like, like,
I mean, there's plenty of those out here too.
Sure. But I don't see them. Like, I'm sure they're there, but I see these, I'm like, I know how to get home because there's a giant Dora the Explorer billboard on the side of a building. And when they paint over that and put a new one,
be another movie in a couple weeks.
I don't know if I'll be able to find my way home, you know, like, I don't know. It's something about that. Like, it's definitely hard here, obviously. And Austin is unique in a way where, like, people do support each other, and, like, the indie community, you can really, like, find a buzzword tribe.
Yep.
There it is.
Yeah.
It was going to be said.
But at the same time, it's also like, you just don't, I don't know. I feel like I've had more people roll their eyes at me in Austin when I say I want to be an actor than here. Because here it's like everyone's doing it.
Right.
Like, you're here. That's the reason you're here.
But does that make you feel like, because I know a lot of actors, I've become friendly with a lot of actors over the years. And Some of them, like you're trying to differentiate yourself. Like you're trying to, you still you come out here and you want to maintain some semblance of self.
Mhm.
And this is who I am. And I'm not going to let Hollywood chew me up and spit me out.
Mhm.
And invariably, no matter, I'm not saying just kind of like relax and roll over and let that happen to you, because you don't want that to happen.
Sure.
But out here, especially for actors, it's so hard to keep that sense of self, because you're always trying to please someone else.
Mhm.
You're always trying to stand out from every other actor that's in town. And, there's a million talented people out here that are super duper talented that, like, unfortunately won't get discovered.
Totally.
Or won't catch a break through no fault of their own, other than it's a numbers game. And then you have to decide, like, is this really what I want to do? And now you're starting to doubt, and you start to lose that sense of self, because and that's, I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but like,
I've had that.
It's a fight.
I've had that not in Los Angeles though, because I had those same doubts in Austin.
Right. And it's not like you're going to be a different, it's not like you're going to come out here and be a different person.
No.
What worried you in Austin's going to worry you.
I'm not 18 years old anymore.
Right.
Like not a whole lot is going to impress on me.
Right.
So
you're not expecting you to get off the bus and like have somebody be like,
no.
Get in there with Tom Cruise. Go
I
do
think
it.
if I was still in that place where I just wanted to be an actor, it would be a lot scarier. And if I had moved here, like you said, when I was like 18, like straight out of college or straight out of high school or whatever. But I spent almost 10 years out of college in my adult life figuring out who I was in Austin and deciding that I wasn't I figured out that I'm a strange type on the acting side because I look like a cheerleader, but I act like Lindsay Weir. So like, it's a very, like, I don't look like what I am like castable as, I guess. And figured out very quickly that I wasn't going to get cast very often unless I started making things happen for myself.
Sure.
And that's when we started making short films and stuff like that so that we had something to do.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, you can do it anywhere. So I know
you can get rejected anywhere.
Yeah, you can get, so why not do it here? I don't know. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad we're here later than a lot of people probably come here like off the bus trying to become a star or whatever. I love Austin, but I got tired of it. I got super jaded by Austin. I got to the point where, and acting isn't my number one anymore. I still like to do it, but I prefer producing and directing. At this point, I always say it changes depending on like what I'm working on though. Like if you cast me in something, I'll be like, I never want to do anything but act,
I'm going to dive into that.
But it got to the point where like, I was like, no, I'm not taking acting classes. Like I know all of the acting teachers in town and I know what they're going to say to me. And like, I'm not going to learn anything.
Maybe even more talented than half of them anyway.
Maybe like when you've spent so much time in one place doing that, it gets to the point where it's like, well, I'm not going to grow here anymore. And the thought of coming to a place like LA where there is just so much more industry in abundance,
right?
Like I feel like I could go audition for the Groundlings, or I could get into an on-camera class again without feeling like I don't want to be there. And
because you have something else to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the be all and end all. And, like you said, you come out here. I mean, when I was 24, so, and I took a long time to think about what I really want to do, because if you come here and you're bright eyed and bushy tailed and you're like, I'm going to be a star. That is a guaranteed formula for not having that thing happen to you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily failure, but just not meeting your own expectations.
Sure.
Because I've met plenty of people that had that expectation, still booked commercials, but I'm not a movie star, or I don't have my Oscar yet. I'm a piece of shit. Like, whoa, no, it's all right.
Okay, like, Leonardo.
We can, you can be happy with, your lot in life. But if there's dissonance between what you're expecting will happen and what actually happens, that turns into a sense of failure.
Yeah.
But yet you can still be very successful. And that's one of the things that this town will do is will mess with your mind enough that you start to question your own intentions. Like, so you would come out here like, I don't need to be a famous actor. I don't need to be a famous director. I just want to work. but then you'll see other people, booking or getting work or doing things and you'll just be like, wait a minute, maybe I do want that. Did I want that? I don't want. Now you're doubting yourself.
Yeah. But now we have the internet. So we see that in everywhere
I guess
all the time.
It does not matter where you live.
So,
you are going to see
I dealt with that kind of stuff in Austin, Elena and I, neither of our degrees are in filmmaking either. We both went to college for acting, and I have a minor in English writing and rhetoric. And so I thought I wanted to be a playwright.
Rhetoric.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about rhetoric.
Let's talk about rhetoric.
In my very first rhetoric class in college, my professor said, here's everything you need to know about rhetoric. Rhetoric is the art of bullshit. Welcome to class.
All right. Well, where do you even go from there?
I'm
ready for the first test.
We are rhetoricizing right now.
Yeah, we are oratoring.
Yeah. So I thought I wanted to be a playwright because I had grown up doing Shakespeare as a teenager in one of the only high school accredited summer Shakespeare programs in the country. And so I was getting high school credit to do Shakespeare. I didn't have summer vacations. I spent 14 weeks of my summer on the hillside behind Wimberley High School in the heat, 90, 100 degree heat, building sets and rehearsing Shakespeare.
Right.
So I thought I wanted to be an actor. So that's what I went to college for. And then after college, I got so burnt out on it in college. I just got a fucking degree in it and I hated it. And so I went and was working for a video game company as a tech writer for 3 years.
Well, what burnt you out on it?
Going to school, you wake up.
Just doing a lot of stuff at once?
Wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Love anymore?
I had been overexposed to it. Yeah. I just done too much of it. Yeah. I got tired of it,
Need a break?
Because I was waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, doing my homework, going to class. When class was over, I had a couple hours to do homework. I'd go to set. I'd rehearse for 4 hours, get home at 11 o'clock at night, do more homework, fall asleep, do the same thing again.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to the point where you do that for 4 years or 4.5, like me. By the time I graduated, I was like, I don't want to act anymore, man. I just, there are other people doing this stuff on Broadway getting paid for it. And I just went to school. I just paid to do it.
Right.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, you got cast in every main stage show your senior year. And I got cast in 2 plays the entire time I was in college. Like, how can you even take a break right now? Like, keep going.
Yeah, you're crushing it right now. Like, you don't know.
My spirit was getting crushed is what was getting crushed. And it broke me down. And I was really good friends with all of my professors and all of my directors and everybody. And, I could have gotten an agent immediately, but I shut off and was like, I got to take a break for a while. I didn't act again for 3 years after I graduated with the thing I got a degree in. And then,
but it's good that you were able to realize that. How many people, and again, that's one of the things that I've kind of seen a lot out here.
And I'd seen kids that'd gone to school with kids, adults, young adults, 21, 22 years old, leaving college, coming out to LA, going to New York, going to Chicago and doing shit all.
Right.
It's like, I can do nothing in Austin. And so I did. I got a job as it was in customer service. And then I eventually got a position in the tech writing department for the company. And I got burnt out on that too. And it was something I did good at there too. I was getting promoted every time, promotion came up. And I realized I missed writing, which is what I thought I wanted to be the entire time. So I started writing short films. And that's when we started making stuff together. But because I would come home from work and Elena, who worked from home, I'd come home just miserable every single day and just a curmudgeon. And I'd get snappy and we'd get into, butt heads together.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't because our relationship wasn't good.
Right.
It's because I was just in a place where I wasn't.
He was mad all the time.
I was mad all the time. And I realized I had pent up creative energy that wasn't getting expressed in anything. And so she was like, I have found out about, at the time, I know this is a nobody likes to hear this name anymore, but Kevin Spacey had a screenwriting competition with Jameson Whiskey called Jameson First Shot. And it was free to submit a short script, 7 pages or less. And they would pick three people and they would produce those short scripts with an A-list actor. The first year it was him. Second year it was Willem Dafoe. Third year it was Uma Thurman, Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Wow.
And you didn't have to pay anything. And I was like, wait, so I can just write
Price is right.
7 pages and I get to submit, and then they'll pick you and let you direct them in a short film. I was like, I'm there. I submitted. First year, nothing happened. I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't expecting
anything.
anything.
The opportunity to work with Kevin Spacey. Damn.
Yeah. Well, it was actually the second year of the competition.
Oh, yeah.
The first year that he
Yeah. So
submitted,
I heard about it after the first year, which was him. So I submitted a script that I thought Willem Dafoe would be perfect in my script and didn't get anything. And then the next year came around, they announced it was Uma Thurman. I was like, you know what? I like her movies. And I got a couple of short story ideas, or short script ideas. I'll bang one out. And so I wrote one. I submitted it, sort of almost kind of forgot about it.
Well, that was also the year after he wrote his Willem Dafoe script. I was like, so if you become a finalist, they're going to ask for previous work, and all you've ever done is write plays, and you've produced your stuff on stage before, but there's no evidence of that. So like, should we make something like just in case?
Should we start making some short films? So we went out and bought a used Canon T3i and started just shooting short films.
Wow.
And we did
I
one.
think that's the camera I used on getting it. It's like,
really?
Yeah, it's not a 5D or anything.
No,
but for a couple $100 for a couple of people who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we did what we called the 12-month, what we now call the 12-month project. And each month Duncan has like perfectionist syndrome and like won't finish anything because if it's not perfect. So I was like, I'm going to break you of that. You have to write me a script every month this year, and we're going to shoot it, even if
could be a page long. It doesn't matter. We're just going to shoot something, and we're going to put ourselves through basically self-taught film school.
So we did that for a year, and then at the end of the year, the Jameson First Shot competition came back up, and Duncan was like, "Oh shit, I was going to write a script for this. I'm just going to write it real quick." And so he wrote it after spending a year actually like rehoning his craft,
doing the stuff.
Then wrote this script kind of quickly and forgot about it.
Yeah.
And ended up becoming a finalist.
And, a couple months later, I get an email from them. And it's like, congratulations, you've been shortlisted. You're one of 7 people in the US.
Nice.
Now we need all this shit from you. So give us a bunch of treatments and give us a sample short film based off this script we gave you. By the way, Uma's going to call you. So get ready for that.
We're like,
this is a kid. I hadn't done anything.
Hey.
And it was in the middle of South by that there was a day in South by. We go hard during South by.
Now, what year is this?
2014.
Okay.
14 or 15. I think.
14 or 15. And I literally was sitting on the floor of our office in the house we were living in Austin with my script spread out in front of me for 2 hours, just staring at it, waiting for this phone call.
And I'm like,
Shitting
can
bricks.
we like go to a South by party? Like,
Can we do something? And I was like, no, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that was kind of because, as a writer and an artistic or creative type, I'm very self-deprecating. I think everything I do is terrible and nobody's ever going to like it. And I'm never going to amount to anything. And it's the end of the world.
Going to come and shit on your chest.
Right.
And a production company run by Kevin Spacey, who at the time was still very well regarded, and Dana Brunetti, who was making some of the hottest movies in Hollywood.
50 Shades of Grey,
acting,
y'all.
and Uma Thurman could potentially be acting in it. That was sort of the validation. No pressure, but also that I hadn't had validation like that before.
In your writing.
In my writing, because the only people who had read what I'd written is myself, Elena, and my writing partners for plays in college.
Sure. And you were also, so sorry to interrupt, but just to jump back a second. So you had decided that you didn't want to do the grind that was already eating you up.
Right.
And so you're at a place in your mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like you're at a place in your mind where you're like, this thing is eating me inside. This is what I thought I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You're already like in a place where the thing that I thought I wanted to do so bad is actually destroying me.
Yeah.
Now I think I want to do this other thing. I'm going to start doing this other thing. I'm not sure if this is the thing. And now you're worried, like you're worrying if you even made the right decision to like shift into writing.
Oh yeah. Everything that I do, I say, we made a terrible mistake. Every move, every job I quit, every job I applied for, it's like, I have no idea if I'm doing it right. And after the fact, I go, we probably should have stayed in Austin, Probably should have never moved out of our first apartment. Probably should have.
A vicious circle.
Probably should have not gone to college and just gotten a job, working in tech somewhere.
Why am I even doing this creating thing at all if nobody appreciates it?
Yeah.
Right.
And so that validation was the first thing that was like, oh, the work that you just spent the last 2 years doing for free, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
maybe you can make something someday.
Maybe,
Like,
yeah.
maybe
Right.
even if
And
it's not this.
They didn't end up picking my script that year, but I was at a high.
Did you had the conversation with Uma?
Yeah.
How did that
half
go?
hour. Great. She loved it. We had great things to talk about.
That's awesome.
Just another girl had a better script than me. And her short got made and I watched it because they put them all up online and I was like, no, yeah, that.
Do you remember who won it? Can we say who do you
Her name
remember?
was Jessica something.
Jessica. Yeah. I mean, I'd have to go
Jessica
back and look. I don't remember perfectly.
Valentine?
Yeah,
maybe?
that's it. Exactly.
But it's not like
No, like-
No. It was.
I mean,
it was
she
another,
may still be making movies,
Sure.
but yeah.
But it's
The
necessarily,
idea was-
you always get this idea in your mind that like, if you don't win and someone else does, that's their ticket.
Yeah.
They're going to be huge.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm a piece of shit.
Uh-huh.
And like, see, they're better than me. And why am I even doing that? They're going through the
Jealousy
same thing. And
rears
they're
its
like,
ugly head.
Yeah.
100% of the time. Everything I do, I'm jealous of someone else.
I'm actually really glad you said that because it's one of the things about me I feel really guilty about.
Your
Like,
jealousy?
my jealousy.
Mhm.
I grew up like when I was, after I graduated from college and, before I moved out here and had spent about another year in New York trying to make it there. And I was going to IFP events, which is like it's independent feature project.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, seeing what everyone else was doing. And this is like the mid to late 90s. This is when the indie film is, the industry's just burgeoning and you're getting just, Quentin, when he was coming up, Kevin Smith, Robert Rodriguez.
I was going to say
Robert
Rodriguez. Yeah.
all those people. And then all like, another man who's no longer highly well regarded, Harvey Weinstein, and just all of that. And I just loved all of it. I didn't really want the studio stuff. Like I didn't want to, like I wanted to have that freedom and all of that. And I was getting involved in that mix, but I found that I was getting so jealous, even though I wasn't necessarily even putting the work in at the time.
Yeah.
I was like waiting for something to happen like I deserved it. And like,
Oh, absolutely.
and you have to put the work in. And it's funny because to jump back to today, before I jump back to the rest of that story, as a white guy, I feel bad that like, I don't want anyone to think I feel entitled. Like hand me something that I don't deserve, but I get jealous because, and even if I'm at home not doing anything and I'm wallowing in my own shit, well, if you don't do the work, you're not going to get the accolades, and you don't see the struggles that other people, who are famous or whatever have to go through to get to that place. But I was in a place where it was like, I was seeing all these young filmmakers and people that I would go to school with or whatever start to like, make pictures and sell them and get deals with Miramax and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why is this not happening for me? And I was jealous. And this is actually, I was talking to my wife about it the other night because this is something that's never gone away in me.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel so bad about it because I don't want to be jealous. Like I appreciate all the hard work you guys do and your success. And it's not necessarily being jealous of stars either. Like my picture was on the film festival circuit last year and did really, really well. And I don't have a picture on the circuit this year. So like, I'm not even competing with guys like you, but then I'll see somebody like post that they got into a festival that I didn't get into last year. And I'll be like, what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to, it's not that I hate or dislike anybody, but I'm like, I get so jealous. And I'm like, I don't want to feel this way. Like I want to, and I kind of, overcompensate for it by being super nice to people sometimes. And like, it comes from a genuine place because I really want to see other filmmakers' success. But in the same vein, it's like, why is that not happening for me? And like I said, you got to put the work in to even get close to the accolades.
Yeah.
But I was always so like even Kevin Smith, the dude's been around for 25 years. He's one of my idols, and I'll see him on TV and I'm like, well, why am I not on TV?
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because I don't want to be on TV.
Yeah,
There's a part of me like, I don't want to be like recognized on the street. Like I want to be recognized. Let's be honest. I want to be recognized on the street, but not all the time, every day.
Totally.
And it happened to me once and it was very, very exciting, but I don't want to be bothered all the time. Like I know I don't want that kind of existence because that looks like a real crummy existence,
Right.
but I still get jealous of it. And I get jealous even of stars. I'm like, why is Charlize Theron getting all of this attention? Why am I not? I'm like,
and you're like, not even in the same ballpark.
I know. And I'm like, I'm not even an actor. Like, why? Where does this come from? And I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out why I even feel that way. And honestly, I haven't even figured it out yet.
No.
So it's very, exciting. No, very comforting to hear you say that you feel that way as well. Cause you probably feel the same way a little bit. Like, you don't want to be jealous.
Yeah.
And especially for me, like growing up in an age where there were 3 networks and there was, Pace Cable was kind of coming up, but there were 3 networks. There were theatrical studio movies. The indie side had not yet, like 91, 92, like were a couple of, movies that had stood out, but it wasn't what it is now. And over the course of the last 20 years, the avenues and the opportunities for people to succeed exist now far more than they ever did when I was a kid. So it's not like we're in competition.
Right.
There's room for everyone to be successful, but yet I still find myself being jealous when somebody else gets into a festival that I hadn't got into, or, is walking down the red carpet at even the Spirit Awards. I'm like, why do I not have a Spirit Award yet? It's ridiculous because I don't want to feel this way.
Yeah, I've seen my friends, like fellow filmmakers, post that they're getting into festivals that like we didn't even apply for. And I'm like, oh, I didn't get into a festival. Like, I didn't apply for that festival. Like, why do I
even care?
Yeah. And like, I didn't even realize I was doing this, but we went from March to October. We premiered our movie in March at Method Fest here in LA. And then we also like missed a bunch of deadlines and didn't apply for a ton of festivals at the top of the year. But every festival that we applied for between March and next week rejected us. So we went that many months, like my heart breaking, going, if I don't play another festival, like no one's going to want to take us at this point because everyone's rejecting us. And why would they take someone who's only been rejected? Like, it's been too long. Once you haven't played a festival in a certain number of months, they're probably not going to want me and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't even realize I was doing this, but I stopped supporting my friends on like Twitter and stuff. Like I used to, I started consciously doing it again, but I used to like retweet every time one of my friends got into a festival or reply like every time someone like had good news or something. And without even realizing it, I stopped doing that for my friends, probably because I was like, fuck, my movie's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
and like, I can't do this.
Fuck you, I'm not going to help you.
But it wasn't
but
even.
You're my friend.
Yeah. It wasn't even like that. It was just like, I didn't have the will to be happy for them because there was nothing to be happy about for myself. And then when we got into Austin Film Festival,
which is no small shakes either, by the way. I mean, listen, I'm a South by guy, but Austin Film Festival,
it's Oscar qualifying.
Well, for shorts, but
for shorts. I mean,
so they told us like, what did they? We had a marketing call with AFF a couple weeks ago, and they said that like they've grown so much, like so many more submissions
I wrote it down
have come
too.
every single year.
Thank you for a record number of submissions.
You've gotten that email 1,000 times as we have.
But they told us on this.
I'm going to see if I can find the exact numbers.
We did the math.
Wrote it down.
I can't remember the exact numbers at this moment, but we did the math, and it was harder to get into Austin Film Festival than like percentage wise than it is to get into Harvard.
Wow.
And so, that like, knowing that every festival is that now because the good ones everyone applies to.
And here I am saying that it's not a competition, but guess what?
But it is, And so I guess I didn't even realize, to go back to the Twitter thing, I didn't realize I was doing that until we got into AFF, and I suddenly felt validated again. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, so many great things are happening for my friends. Like, I'm going to retweet this thing that Maria said, and I'm going to retweet this Lost Bayou thing because we were in the Hometown Heroes rally together, and I'm so happy for them because they got into New Orleans, and stuff like that, where like I was so down on myself for so long that I wasn't even registering that people that I really like were succeeding in that time, which sucks.
Because your tank is running on empty and you just...
it was so drained after 2 years of working on this movie. Even though the goal was to make a movie. And we knew what was going to be needed every step of the way, including the distribution part and the post-production and the festival circuit.
Distribution.
And we were fully aware of the entire path, and we're still getting beaten down by it. Yeah. Even as prepared as we were for it.
And it's funny because that's kind of the point of view that I had, like being in the business for like 20 years. Like, I know how things work. I've always known how things work. Distribution, budget, all the nine. Like, I know the score. But until you're in the middle of it, having it all happen around you, it's almost like, when when I watch a movie, I'm like, I think like, oh, I can act like this. How hard is this? But like, wait a minute, there's all this other stuff happening that you don't see. That's not the final product that goes into that. They're like, no, you can't just, get up there and do it.
Right.
But like with filmmaking, this is the one thing that I really want to like help filmmakers with is like the fact that you finished it is the most special thing in the world. Getting over that I did, like it took me, like we were in production for 6 years. It took me 10 years just to even get to that point. And like, out of all my friends, like I've been the guy that is the finisher. Like I'm the guy that always finishes stuff. So I have other friends or people who even aren't my friends anymore because life takes you apart, that are like, I wish this had happened to me. Like I said, it's part of the jealousy thing. It's like, well, if you're not putting in the work to finish something, you can't quite, like even if you're internally like, I don't want to feel bad, but I still do. But like for me, it was always about like, it just needs to be finished. If no one likes it, I realized real early that like, you can't please everyone. And I've never really tried. And that's why if I get a bad review, like that's actually one of the things that I'm actually pretty confident about is like, I don't care if I get a bad review. Like I know it's like, it's my life. And it kind of like when people say kind of mean things, I get it, and that stings, but like, no, not everyone's going to like my picture, but like thousands of movies get done every year. And the general public doesn't know how hard it is to do that. And they just like, oh, go make your movie. But like to finish the picture is the accomplishment.
Yeah.
And everything else will come from that. Maybe it won't. But if you can get into a mindset of like, the success comes from seeing something through and not abandoning it. And maybe it takes 20 years. Maybe like you start something and you want to get back to it, but like, I don't know when. Like I have short scripts that I wrote years and years and years ago and unfinished features that I'm like, I'll come back to this someday, and maybe I will, maybe I won't, but like, I'm not going to let the external, validation of other people, tell me whether or not I'm successful because I've finished it.
Well, that's the nice thing about writing your own stuff is that, yes, the fact that you finished something is an enormous feat in and of itself. But unless you're rich, you're not going to make the next one unless you make some money somehow. But writing on your own is free.
Yeah.
So you can start writing the next one when you're finished. That's what we're both doing right now is I have a feature script that I'm working on. He has a pilot script that he's working on that's like, okay, well, we're still kind of in debt from this movie. Right. And like, hopefully we make some money back on it just so we can like have startup costs for the next one. Cause we do want to make another one.
Sure.
But at least right in this moment, we can go up to the roof and work until the sun sets and write our scripts. And like, no one can stop us from doing that. We're not waiting. Like we were talking about the whole like gatekeepers thing. Right. We're not waiting for anyone to say like, okay, you can make another movie now. And maybe that's the like, just go make your movie sentiment that's the good part of it is like find the ways that you can just keep working on it. Even when it's not like, okay, well, no, I can't pay 15 people to work for me for 17 days every time I want to make a movie. Cause like that cost a tiny amount of money in like the grand scheme of things, but a lot of money to me. So I guess it's finding those little things to keep going. You know what I mean?
And when you and when you guys, so like when you're up on the roof and you guys are working together, like just kicking around ideas or however you guys work together, like you take some enjoyment from that too, right? Like obviously,
totally.
Like that's also a success. Like, I can't tell you like how many times, like I've heard stories of like, you guys are working together, you're married and you love each other and you want to work together and you want to do stuff. But like, as long as that's the success and the happiness comes from doing that together, then like, who cares what Tom, Dick, or Harry thinks? Who cares if, Paramount passes on your script? Like, you can pass on my script all you want, pal, but like, I worked on this with my wife and I'm proud of it. Yeah. And I'm happy about it. And you know what? I'll fucking go make it myself. And even if I don't, I still had a fucking blast doing it with the one I love.
I didn't lose money on writing that script, except for the exorbitant rent that we pay. But,
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you guys about, distribution on your film.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
do you guys have that? Do you guys have it?
Yes.
I'm in the process of getting the deliverables to the distribution company.
Okay.
It's going to be an all digital release.
After,
Awesome.
After we
Yeah.
premiered at Method, we got hit up by a sales agent who had seen us. His assistant had found us on some announcement website or something. Saw that we played Method Fest. At Method Fest, we got the Maverick Award for quality and low budget filmmaking.
Awesome.
And so that had been in the Beverly Hills Courier or
Or
something
something.
like that.
Yeah.
And
Big
so
time papers.
she put it on his desk and he said, sounds like something I want to rep. Contacted us, asked for a screener, watched it, liked it, said, I want to be the sales agent for the movie. So we signed a contract with him. He went and shopped it around, got a bunch of no's and one yes.
Okay, that's all you need.
And that's all
Literally
we needed
one.
because our plan, we didn't really have much of a distribution plan other than we'll play some festivals, and when we're done playing festivals, it'll be on Vimeo or something.
Yeah,
put it
I mean,
online, and that'll be
we
that.
we had talked about applying to the Sundance Creative Distribution. I had seen Liz talk at South by about it the previous year. So I was like, well, if anything, we can like apply to this. It would have been the third year of that initiative. So I was like, it'll be like more competitive than it was this past year, but maybe not so competitive because it's still new. So that was like an idea that we had, like if we didn't get into Sundance and have someone buy us,
Right.
Yeah.
But then we ended up doing this.
We got hit up by the sales agent. And
Yeah.
He had
So we didn't apply to the Sundance thing, but that was kind of an idea if we hadn't done
the
this.
original idea was self-distribution.
Yeah.
Somehow through some we were going to
Some
figure it out.
creative way.
Yeah, one way or
And
another.
then when
I
this
had no plan.
when this opportunity fell in our laps, we were like, oh well, this is better. It'll cost us a little bit of money up front because we have to put all these assets together exactly how it needs to happen. We need to buy the insurance and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like the
and
insurance.
so
insurance.
that's the one.
Yeah.
And so then he got the screener to this distributor, which I don't think we can say the name of it yet because it hasn't the deal or I haven't delivered everything yet. So it's still in the works. But he watched it and he called us up and he got the movie. Because our movies are not out there, but it's not for everybody,
Right, gotta connect with it.
And he had some great things to say. It reminded him of this Twilight Zone episode he'd seen back in the 70s.
Wow,
and I was like, sweet, I'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly the vibe I'm going for.
So
Yeah,
I'm Rod Serling.
Right.
Also, I'm Jordan Peele. Awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
He described our movie to us in a way that we were like, oh, I actually believe that he watched it and got it. And we were like, okay, we feel
Sweet.
I know you gotta like test them.
Right.
Yes.
Like, did
Yeah.
you really watch that? Let me ask you a
What'd you think of the last 15
Yeah.
minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Oh, really? You mean even the part where I
had someone who is a friend who worked for a festival who doesn't work for that festival anymore. But he said that he would watch a screener of it before I started putting it out to film festivals. And I saw him during a different festival. And he was like, oh, I watched your movie. And I was like, oh, thanks for watching. What do you think? And he was like, it was cute. Or he said, or no, it was sweet. He was like, it was sweet because it's a relationship story. And I was like, I don't know if he watched the ending.
Yeah.
He called it sweet, which like I'm so grateful that he watched as much as he did.
Like
And
it
maybe-
was like it was sweet, or it was sweet, dude. That movie was sweet.
I mean, like he said sweet, like romantic. And I was like, I wonder if
Did he
didn't.
get past like
Because it is
the
very
second
sweet.
act?
There are a lot of very sweet moments, but the ending, I'm not going to give it away, is not sweet.
So let me ask you.
But,
Let me
yeah.
ask you this question.
So
Oh,
then
go ahead,
distributor says we sign a deal with the distributor, and now I've got to deliver all the assets. So I'm still the only person working on the movie.
If there's anything I can do to help, by all means. I have my movie's being distributed by Gravitas Ventures, who, they suck. They suck. I'll say it. They just really haven't supported the movie like I thought they would, and I'm actually really afraid to say stuff like that because like they're gonna take it away. They're gonna be like, we want our money back. Like we're gonna take it down. That's just not
They're
the
not going
case.
to,
So
yeah.
I will say
time
that.
will tell with these guys. I feel good right now, but this is also the first movie we made.
Sure.
And the first deal we're going through.
Yeah,
so
and like I said, when you're
we
in
might-
it, like you might know the situation, you might know the process, but until you're in it and negotiating yourself, it's like a totally different deal. And and I had done, because I'm a post guy, and they had said like I had a coordinator that I was dealing with all the deliverables, and she said like this has been, and I did all the online editing myself, like all of it, all the, I didn't have a lot of chain of title stuff because it's my family story. So like that hard part was gone, but I had to get the E&O insurance and get a fair use letter because it's a documentary, get a fair use letter from my clearance counsel and all that. But my coordinator was like, this is like one of the smoothest deliveries we've ever had.
Interesting.
And that was more of a compliment to me than if they had liked the movie or not. I was like, because as a post guy, I'm like, you're damn right. I did it all right. And like, that was really the most exciting part. But one of the things that I really wanted to ask you guys about the distribution, because you were saying about like, the sense of rejection that you feel at all the festivals, and it's just different levels of success and how we define success in our minds. Some people define success by I have to get into 20 festivals. Some people define success by I got to sell the picture. So here you are, same thing, very much the same thing with Getting Over. Like we were in South by Southwest and then crickets for months. And you're like, you feel like shit. You feel like shit and you don't want to support your friends because you're like, if I feel like shit, I want you to feel like shit. But then a distributor calls and says, we want to buy the picture. Yeah, I sold my first movie and I didn't have a sales agent, I had hired a publicist for South by Southwest and I had spoken to him a couple months later when we were about to sell it. And really one of the only reasons why we sold it is because we took advantage of the Amazon Film Festival Stars program. Which was,
right. It's like not existent anymore.
It was 2 years in existence. And it was like, if you're in competition at Sundance, South by, Toronto, and I want to say Telluride, but maybe some other one. It was like, if you're in competition,
TIFF, did you said Toronto?
Yeah, it's $100,000 non-recoupable.
Yeah.
And if you're in the spotlight, like we were, $25,000 non-recoupable. And I mean, it's so weird too, because so many different people, it doesn't exist anymore because a lot of indie filmmakers were like, you're lowballing filmmakers. Like I made my picture for $2 million and now you want to buy the rights for $100,000, fuck you. But here I am as a micro budget guy. My picture costs $60,000 all in. And like, here's an offer on the table like that. Like I wouldn't have sold it. Gravitas would never have made us an offer. And I had said on the phone with the guy that I was talking to him, like, so are you guys going to then take advantage of the program? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, all right, so like you're going to get the money, but I get a little bit more. Like they offer me more than just, the $25,000. So I took the money and ran, but I was talking to my publicist about it and he goes, and you never got a sales agent? And I was like, no, like all the sales agents passed. And he's like, that doesn't happen. That never happens. And I started thinking about it more and was like, what did I really want out of this picture? Did I, all I ever really wanted, I was never expecting to make any money. I just wanted people to see my family's story, so the thought that, as many people as possible would see it. And listen, if I had taken the Amazon deal, I would have taken some of that, put it towards an aggregator or whatever. And like, it still would have been on there. That's actually one of the reasons why I knew the guy was bullshitting me, is because we were in the middle of a phone conversation and he goes, how does it feel to know that like grandmas in the Midwest are going to be able to watch your picture? Like thinking that I'd be like, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. But I was like, dude, I can do that myself.
Yeah.
Even if I just put it on YouTube for free, like it'll be out there.
Right.
And, and he made it sound like he was they've done no advertising. I had to beg them to do a single Twitter post about it. And they were like, well, you write the copy and we'll post it. And it was kind of freeing because they didn't redo. I already had a trailer that I had edited. I did all the artwork myself. They never asked me to change a damn thing. So that was actually kind of liberating. I was like, wow, they took my poster, they took my trailer. It would have been nice for them to do that, but I have the freedom and I make my own, social media posts about it and all of that stuff. So I appreciate that. But, and then again, the jealousy comes in because then I'll see Gravitas Ventures pimping out some other movies that they bought. And they gobbled up like 70 movies from South by that year.
Yeah.
That's just what they do.
Yeah.
But then I'll see them advertising other movies and I'm like, motherfucker, you couldn't give me, like, I had to beg you guys for a post and you won't, like, and I have to write the copy? Like, what? So you get to the point where it's like, well, what is success? What is really the level of success that you want? You don't get into festivals, you feel like shit, but then you sell it. And then you feel great, but then you start questioning, like, what did I really want from this? Because you're messing with my mind. I thought I was successful by finishing it. Then I felt like garbage because nobody accepted it. Then I sold it. So now, well, if somebody's going to make money on it, they must think something of it. But now you're not going to support it like I thought. So maybe you were just feeding me a line anyway. And it messes with your mind.
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of figure out a way. That's kind of like, again, that's why I wanted to do the show, so I can talk to people about that stuff and realize we're not alone doing this kind of thing.
And we'll go back and forth between the two of us on those exact, opinions of ourselves. And she'll have high days when I'm low, and I'll have high days when she's low. And we both said to each other, look, we made a movie. We need to be proud of it and happy that we did that, because if we didn't, it'd be a year later and we hadn't made a movie.
Exactly.
And that's the sort of like reminder that I have to constantly give myself, and sometimes Elena has to give it to me. It's like, I could still be sitting in that customer service office being miserable, not writing scripts. Yeah. And then a decade would have gone by at this point, and it hasn't. Right. I got up, kicked myself in the ass a little bit. Also, Elena kicked me in the ass. Mm-hmm. See, and I wrote the first short, and it was trash. It wasn't good.
It was fine. It's on the internet.
But then I wrote another one that was a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And
you're honing your craft. Yeah. I mean, that's when we get all artiste about it.
Right.
And like, that's what honing the craft is all about. But what do we have to endure in our own minds are the obstacles that we put in our own way just to get to that place.
Well, and what was so interesting about the distribution thing was that all of this happened with getting our sales agent and getting the distributor, who is actually like a smaller company who I just don't know what details I'm allowed to say. So I'm going to say it like in an abstract way.
Absolutely.
It's a smaller company who has a label deal with a mid-sized company like Gravitas. Mm-hmm. It's not Gravitas. And they did offer us marketing services in our contract. So they will do some marketing for us. So our sales agent was like, this is actually, I think, because the company that they have a label deal with rejected us. And so he was like, in a way,
you've gotten a better deal by going with a smaller company.
Because you still have the name of the bigger company, but you have a smaller company that's going to work harder for you.
And you don't feel like you're being taken advantage of too. Like you have to, because then that's when you have to put the business hat on and be like, well, now that, like I said, we would have put it online anyway, but now that we're here, now we have to protect our interests.
And the founder of this smaller company is a former executive for MGM.
I don't remember.
Universal, somewhere. So it's like,
he's worked in the,
At least now somebody who has ties to other people knows who the fuck we are.
Right.
But so all of this happened right after Method Fest, in like the early summer. And so we knew we had a distribution deal right out of the gate, but then like didn't get into any festivals.
We were like, we're trash.
How are we defining our success?
We've got a sales agent who wanted to rep us. We've got a distro company that wanted to distro us, but we're beating ourselves up. Like, are we absolute trash because none of these festivals want us, and they're accepting these other movies that I've seen that I know are worse than my movie?
Maybe not worse, but in the moment you kind of think that, even though it's not true.
It's the jealousy.
But
see, you don't want to feel that way. You don't want to say the movie's trash. But
no, I don't want to live in misery every single day thinking I'm horrible and other people don't deserve anything, but I can't help it.
Yeah. Exactly. And something really needs to change about it too. Like now that I'm like in the fest, even if I don't have a picture, like I'm spending the whole year following the festival circuit.
Right.
And like you said, like everyone's gotten we've had a record number of submissions this year. This is not sustainable.
No.
Yeah.
This is not, for the movies themselves and for our own sanity, like this is not sustainable. And I don't have a solution for it. Like, I don't know where
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah. I don't know where this area, where this part of the industry goes next.
Yeah. It's interesting to me.
It's scary.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because the reason I was getting down about not getting into festivals was because I was like, well, we have this distribution deal, but no matter what kind of marketing they do for us, I know we're going to have to do a lot of stuff on our own. And I was hoping that having like a robust festival run would get like the word of mouth on the movie. Right. And like, I know that our movie is just going to live on the internet. So like, if it doesn't play enough festivals, like who is even going to find it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, if it's just about putting laurels on your poster, I mean, I could have sent it to like, East Bumfuck, International Film Festival
Right.
and put laurels all over the place.
But I want to take it to places where people care about movies.
I could have whipped out some laurels in Photoshop and put it on my poster, for God's sake.
You don't even need a real film festival.
Nobody knows if you're playing the Sunshine Hills Festival in the middle of fucking Montana or whatever.
Check your work.
And people be like, oh, wait, is that a real festival? Let me check.
Like, oh, he's lying. I never want to work with this bastard again.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like that. But you start thinking that it is, and you're chasing laurels.
I think, now we're talking about it jokingly, I think that's a great idea, because Robert Rodriguez did that shit when he wanted to make Sin City.
Right.
He put Bruce Willis's name on the poster before that guy signed a deal with the movie.
That's right. Yeah. And now you have to.
Yeah.
You lock them in before they even have a chance to say no.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, it worries me because I see, just meeting you guys and meeting more filmmakers. It just see how, a record number, I'm glad, in one sense, I'm glad it's a record number of submissions, because that means there's a lot of people going out there and making movies. And that's great.
Yeah.
Like I said, I want success for everybody. I think there's room in the marketplace for everybody. But the film festival circuit is just not sustainable the way it is.
Mm-mm.
And, I just wonder what the crash is going to look like. All these festivals are trying, they want to get money and they're looking to, it's a business. And South by, listen, they're its own thing. It's a huge thing. There's a million other festivals that are part of the whole experience, and Sundance ain't going anywhere anytime soon. But these smaller ones that want to support filmmakers like us.
Right.
But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that the more supportive they are of smaller filmmakers, the more filmmakers go and make their pictures, the more people submit stuff, the more they have to go through stuff, the harder it is to get quality work recognized, in the public sphere. And where does it end?
Right.
Where does it end? So it's
I can't spend $50 on that many submissions.
And, if our pictures are only going to cost $50 to $100,000, I got to set aside $2,000-$3,000 just for festival submissions.
Yeah, that goes 5% of my budget.
And I get it. Listen, these people need to hire people, and they deserve, to get paid for their work too. But they're sticking their hands in the pockets of people who
I don't know,
can't help the most.
For not to speak belittlingly of somebody like South by Southwest, they're not making their money off of submissions from films. They're making their money off of badge sales, sponsorships, stuff. Yeah, let people submit for free.
Yeah.
And maybe that turns into, like I said, film waivers and all that other stuff. Maybe that turns into a thing even more than it is. I don't like they make you beg.
Yeah.
They make you like, what am I doing here? I'm begging for a film waiver because I can't afford it. No one's going to see, and like I said, it's just this vicious circle that I see happening to people. And eventually, what the crash is going to be? People are going to stop making movies because people want to get, for whatever reason, they're chasing the laurels or whatever. They make a film and then they have to pay their money. And eventually people are going to be like, well, why am I doing this if no one's, if nothing, and then people are going to stop making movies. And then we'll get to the point, well, we had a record low number of submissions this year because we've scared everybody away.
I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but what is already happening is that filmmakers are creating their own festivals.
Sure.
Because the festivals that they want to play won't play them.
Mm-hmm.
I have at least 2 friends in Austin, 3 friends now that are filmmakers that started festivals in Austin.
It's great.
And it's
maybe that's the solution.
It is.
Or
maybe
part of the solution.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be,
maybe,
be all.
But then it's also there's something like 52 film festivals based out of Austin or something like that.
Jesus
32,
Christ.
52, something like that.
Oh my God.
And there's new ones popping up all the time because it's an artistic city that is really one thing that is really great about Austin is that the community at large is pretty supportive of the arts. So the venues will be let's house your festival, stuff like that. But it's also okay, so am I going to submit to South by and Austin Film Fest and Austin Revolution Film Festival and Austin Art House Film Festival and Austin Under the Stars and Fantastic Fest and
AGLIF and Austin Asian American Film Festival.
Yeah, there's so, and those are just the top 8 that I can think of.
A whole bunch more too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Do you guys ever plan on moving back to Austin? You think you guys are out here for good?
I don't know.
Yeah,
we're just gonna kind of wing it and see where life takes you.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll ever be rid of Austin.
Sure,
it's definitely a place where I the script that I'm working on. It's based on a bowling alley that I worked at in high school, and I'm still friends with the owner's son. And I'm like, maybe I can like go to Barry and be like, can we shoot at Sunset Lanes? Cause that would be rad.
Also,
you know?
Austin is a $70 plane ride away.
Yeah. Hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
Cause you won't be able to do that in LA. You won't be able to
Right.
call up a bowling alley and be like, I'm coming down.
Right.
Like, no, we're going to need to shut the streets down and cops and permits and all of that fun stuff. Awesome. Well, it was great talking to you guys. I'm so glad you guys were, so open and sharing your story with me, and welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
And anything I can ever do to help you guys, it would be my pleasure. I'm sure the movie is going to do fantastic. Why don't you give a little plug for your movie? Just tell us the name and where we can find it, or where we'll be able to find it, and all about that.
Our movie is called A Room Full of Nothing. It's a feature-length narrative that Duncan wrote. We co-directed it. He starred in it. We're playing Austin Film Festival October 26th and October 31st this year, 2019, depending on when you're listening to this.
I will have to get this out before then, so we can
there you go.
Get some asses in the seats.
But if you're listening to this after that,
you've missed your opportunity. So coming to streaming platforms soon.
Yeah, or it'll be online at
So first quarter 2020 is when we're looking to have it out everywhere.
Awesome. And you guys want to shoot another movie soon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe not super soon,
Super
but
soon.
we're
Look,
at least
if Netflix wants to buy a script from me, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, exactly.
We're at least we're in the headspace of wanting to write scripts again, which means we will go into production at some point.
But as you know, it's not something that I'm going to start and finish this year.
Right. And as long as you know that, and not put that pressure on yourself, enjoy Los Angeles.
Yeah.
There's so much to do here. I mean, it'll become home faster than you even expect. I came out here on a 5-year plan in 1999 to move back to New York. I was like, I'll get a couple credits under my belt. I'll move back to New York. It'll be great. And I'll have had my LA experience. And then it is, like I said, it's October 16th right now. It's like 85 degrees out and gorgeous.
Like, I could go to the beach later.
Yeah. So, and it's funny, I'm not even a beach person, but I can go if I wanted to. So, welcome to Los Angeles. I hope you guys enjoy your LA experience.
Thank you.
Anything I can do to help you with your pictures or help you guys feel more at home, by all means. Everybody check out A Room Full of Nothing when it hits all your streaming platforms, coming first quarter, like you said, next year.
Yep.
And onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
All right. Bye. Hope you enjoyed our first episode of Head Above Water. I want to thank Elena and Duncan once again for taking time out to chat with me. And I also wanted to thank our fine composer, Jason David White. He's responsible for all the fine music you're listening to on today's program. Look him up on SoundCloud under Jason David White, and he is available for all your composing needs for all your film and TV and video projects. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.